What's up, everyone? I'm Jack Fossett, and today we're checking out a set of humbuckers that's inspired by one of the lesser appreciated classic humbuckers in Gibson history. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel and welcome to this demo and review of the 60s era humbuckers from Gunstreet. Now, what's unique about the 60s era pickups and why I say it's kind of the underappreciated sound is, what do many of us look for if we're looking for a classic voiced humbucker? We look for something that's inspired by or clone of a PAF. And PAF, for those of you that don't know, if you haven't heard this term before, probably a lot of you know, but it's patent applied for. And when the first Gibson humbuckers came out, the Seth Lover designed humbuckers, they didn't have the patent yet when they were put in the guitar. So they had this little tag on them that said patent applied for, PAF. Well, in around 1959, they actually got the patent. And in the 60s, they made the design and the manufacturing of these pickups much more consistent. See, the interesting thing about when people talk about PAF tone, it's kind of like when people talk about P90 tone. There's a lot of variance and there were a lot of inconsistencies. So yes, some of them might be the greatest pickups you've ever played. Some of them might not have been. Also, there could have just been general character differences. The winding of them could be very, very different, leading to, different output, different sort of tonal characteristics. Well, again, in the 60s, they got much more consistent and they actually had the patent now. So they were no longer PAF pickups. Now, many people sort of just like idolize anything that's the 50s. Not that that's a bad thing. I think there were some really incredible things, obviously, that were done in the 50s. But in fact, I even chatted with the people at Gunstreet about this. I was like, there are a lot of great tones that came out of a lot of other eras, whether you're talking about pickups or guitars or amplifiers or whatnot, that are really worthy of being noticed and kind of being out there, but people just get that one track mind. And I've been like that before too, so I'm not criticizing here. I'm kind of recognizing it as a fault in and of myself. Later on, Gibson had the T-top pickups. Well, it was a T-top that was in the bridge position of Jimmy Page's classic Les Paul that he used. So there were a lot of famous Led Zeppelin tones that were a T-top, not a PAF, even though it was an older guitar because the pickup had been swapped. So going back to the point, the 60s era Gibson pickups that were, at this point they had the patent on them. These were the ones that were in the Gibson SGs. And, there are a lot of classic Gibson SG tones that, you might get people just like, oh yeah, classic Gibson PAF. It's like, in an SG, it wasn't a PAF. They had the patent at that point. So, just great sound, a little bit different, and again, a little bit more consistent. Now, this particular set uses Alnico 5 magnets, 42 gauge wire. The output is 7.7 on the neck and 8.3 on the bridge. And if you listen to it, there's again, one of the things that I look for in a great humbucker is clarity, because a lot of humbuckers can just be really muddy. Now this particular SG, and I love this guitar. This is actually the guitar that I played in Guitar Center Blues Masters. This is a darker sounding piece of wood. Cue all the people who are going to tell me that that doesn't make a difference. But yeah, this guitar is a darker, denser piece of wood as compared to some other SGs SGs that I have that are super, super light. This one needed a set of pickups that had not necessarily more brightness, but more clarity. And that's what these pickups have. You know, you almost get, again, kind of a hint of twang in the middle in the bridge position, and the neck pickup doesn't sound muddy at all. Again, it has kind of a nice articulation. So what I want to do is jump back in right now and give you a full tonal profile of these pickups, neck, middle, and bridge, both clean and overdriven. At the beginning, I was using a Keeley Katana Blues Drive for those overdriven tones in the intro. Now I'm going to use something a little bit milder. I'm going to use one side of the Wampler Pantheon Deluxe. So let's have a listen to what these pickups can do. Now, I should also mention that these have 4 conductor wires, so if you want to do coil splitting with these, you can. I don't like coil splitting. I've said this in a lot of videos, but I appreciate that a lot of people do like coil splitting, so yes, these can easily be wired to coil split. Gunstreet also makes their own wiring harnesses that you can get. I did upgrade the wiring on this guitar, but it's just the review of the pickups. It's not a Gunstreet wiring harness. It's one that I put together myself. I have been super impressed with Gunstreet pickups. These are sponsored reviews, but I have one of their sets in my Stratocaster, in one of my Stratocasters, and now I have this set in my SG. And the way you can tell that I'm telling the truth is I'm not taking them out. You know, this is, we can get stuff to do reviews, and you do a review of it, cool and everything. But if it's something that you can't use or don't like, you know, whether it's good or not, obviously there's some good stuff out there that just doesn't suit you for whatever reason, you know, you can kind of move on from it. Well, these pickups are staying in my guitar, and they're two very personal guitars of mine. You know, there's not guitars that are just kind of kicking around. They're ones that mean a great deal to me. Again, I mentioned I played this one in Guitar Center Blues Masters. This is an old favorite SG of mine, and I love these pickups. I think this guitar sounds as good, probably better than it's ever sounded. It just really, it suits the guitar. It gives it the snap that it needed. I am going to link below to where you can check out this particular set of pickups and also look at all the other pickup offerings that they have. So please let us know what you think. I'm Jack Fossett. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.